Welcome Shadow and Flame fans to a very short tutorial, and today we're going to be looking, you guessed by the title I'm sure, we're just going to be having a quick look at the Bolg miniature from the Hobbit range, Games Workshop. Now I know from just being around the forums, several people have been moaning a little bit about how big the gap is when you stick the two halves of the Warg together. So we're just going to have a quick look and see a very simple way to sort that out. Right, so we've got our Bolg, or the two halves of him anyway. You slide them together. You see, oh no! Look at the size of that gap. Looks pretty big, looks pretty horrific, but if you've seen the Great Beast of Gorgoroth video, you should know by now that's very easy to overcome just by plopping it in some hot water. Ooh. In fact, I'll hold it together first because the back lines up pretty good, and I'll just heat up the front. Now when you heat up fine cast resin, it basically becomes rubbery and it allows you to do things you wouldn't normally be able to do. A bit more. Obviously the thicker the resin is, the longer it takes to heat up. Now you can do this alternatively with a hairdryer, but that does heat things up, but it can be a bit uneven. You've got to be careful if you do that you heat up both sides evenly. Otherwise, if you just heat up one side more than the other, you can crack the resin. There you go, just bent that round, closing up the gaps. Simple as that. Let's get rid of that. Might focus better. There you go. See? So something just as simple as heating up the resin, plopping it in a bowl, that'll close that gap right up. You can see there's a very tiny little space which will be filled in with some putty later, but for the most part that's way better than what it was. So no need to panic, guys. If you've got a big gap in your Bolg, or the Warg at least, that's the easy way around it. Got a bit of a bendy weapon going on there, no pun intended, but he's just gonna plop that in there. Same thing. This should be a lot easier actually because it's quite thin. So you can just straighten that out. Fairly simply, because it goes soft. It doesn't take long to set. You can speed things up a bit by dipping it in some cold water or run it under the tap. That's not too bad. I might just give it another little tweak. Because you don't want your bowl to have a bendy weapon. It needs to be nice and firm to smash some elf, dwarf or man skull completely in. And I'll do the same because my foot version's equally bent. There we go, sorted. Okay, so that is basically how to close unsightly gaps. Focus. In your Warg main. That's about it. So there you go. I told you that would be quick and to the point. So we've got Bolg now. He's going to go off and pay Shadow a visit for a nice paint job, and hopefully we'll get some pictures of that back and pop them up at the end of the video. So here's Bolg back in full Technicolor glory, and if you want to know how to paint Bolg's skin like this, Shadow used a base coat of Vallejo Game Colour Dead Flesh, and then inked with a mix of 1 drop brown ink and 5 drops Lamian Medium. He then glazed the skin with a mix of 1 drop of Citadel Dark Flesh, which is Doomball Brown, with 10 drops of medium. Next he added another drop of Doomball Brown to the previous mix, and he glazed the more shaded areas of the skin, like the joints in the arms and around the armour. To highlight the muscular skin, he used a mix of 1 drop Vallejo Dead Flesh and 6 drops medium, and then he kept adding in white to the previous mix, along with 5 more drops of medium to keep the paint nice and thin. Finally he added a tiny amount of Citadel Camo Green, which is Elysian Green now, with another 2 or 3 drops of medium, and shaded some of the deeper areas like around the clothing and under the armour. So that's how he did it. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, merry miniature modelling.